Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillahi amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Last week we spoke on the recommended acts of a tawaf. Sunan al-tawaf. The recommended acts of tawaf. Things that you don't have to do but you should do while making the tawaf. The first recommended act that the author, rahimahullah, may Allah's mercy be upon him, mentioned was al-ramal. وهو سنة للرجال القادرين دون النساء. And this thing called ramal, he says, is something which is a sunnah, a recommended act for men who are physically fit and capable, and not women. So it excludes men who are injured or disabled, or slow, or they have a problem. And it also excludes women, according to the author. وحقيقته أن يسارع الطائف في مشيه مع تقارب خطاه. He says, and the ramal is for a person to move briskly, not to run, but to move briskly, like a fast walk / borderline run, leaning forward, in which he says his footsteps are close together. So when you're running, you're not leaping, dashing, but you're moving fast, and your footsteps are close together. All right? Then obviously, we can explain as much as we possibly can here, but it's never ever the same as doing it and seeing it in person. And brothers who have made Hajj or Umrah, hopefully they've seen it done, even if it was done incorrectly, but just the general concept of it, huh? So it's not running full speed, but it isn't moving slow. طيب. ولا يسن إلا في طواف القدوم وفي الأشواط الثلاث الأولى منه. He says, and it's only recommended when you arrive, the tawaf upon arrival. So brothers who are leaving from America and they're making tamattu', they're going to make this when they perform their what? Their Umrah. When they perform their Umrah, arriving at the Kaaba. And as far as the tawaf of Hajj, then they're not necessarily going to what? Going to do that on the 10th day, Yawm al-Nahr. Tayyib. And he says, and it should only be done on the first 3 circuits. The 7 circuits that you do to make tawaf, he says only do it on the first 3, and not all 7. All right, clear on that? Number 2, al-ittiba' وهو كشف الضبع أي الكتف الأيمن ولا يصن إلا في طواف القدوم خاصة وللرجال دون النساء ويكون في الأشواط السبعة عامة. Then he says number 2, al-ittiba', which is basically to remove the upper part of the clothing from your right shoulder, to expose your right shoulder and to tuck it, and with your right shoulder, right bicep and forearm is exposed. And this also is only done on the arriving tawaf, the tawaf when you first get there. Once more, it is a sunnah for men, and of course not for women. And of course what? Not for women. But so all of those things are similar to the ramal. First initial tawaf, men and not women. But one inconsistency is that he says all 7 circuits and not just the first 3. Not just the first 3. One may ask the question, why not all 7? Isn't showing the shoulder and fast walking, slow running, isn't that all from the wisdom of the Prophet ﷺ when they got to Mecca to show the mushrikun that they were strong and they weren't worn out? Number 3, third recommended act, تقبيل الحجر الأسود عند بدء الطواف وفي كل شوط إن أمكن وكذا استلام الركن اليماني. He says to kiss the black stone when a person begins the tawaf. And it's also recommended to kiss the black stone upon completing each circuit, each time. In amkana, if a person has the ability. And that means the ability to do it without hurting someone else, annoying someone else, or without you getting hurt or annoy yourself. Some brothers may be strong, some women may be strong. She says, I can do it. I'll just plow the people out the way. It's easy. Watch me do it. No. Or some people, they may do it and they may not be as strong and solid. And they may get plowed over and ran over. Steamrolled. This is real. Tawaf is no joke. We'll say, what? You might get steamrolled in the thick of the tawaf. So he says in Amkan, if you have the ability, and that's the sharh of that. That's the what? That's what's meant by ability. Not harming someone else and you not getting harmed yourself. And also not just harm, but annoyance. Other. Annoying people. Then obviously this is a subjective term. Because when you make tawaf, and when you perform Hajj, there are certain things you may have to do, and they may be a means of annoying someone. It's a must. Let alone just the general nature of all of those people in one place. There's going to be some type of what? General annoyance. Let alone it may even be some type of actual harm. And as we said last week, and this doesn't mean that it's a discouragement for people to make Hajj and to do Hajj again. But it does mean that it is a reality. Is that what is the purpose of you making Hajj every year, every 3 years, and you keep breaking the sunnah and going against the sunnah and not doing the recommended acts and exposing yourself to sickness and harm and this and your face being uncovered and a man brushing up and touching you? What's the wisdom in that? Everyone understand this? What is the what? What's the wisdom in that? And once you go, you make a Hajj and the Hajj is stripped down. It's too crowded for us to stay this 3 nights. We're only going to do 2. It's too crowded for us to do this extra recommended act. We're only going to do this. It's a way out. We don't have to take that opinion. What's the purpose? In which everybody and their mother, they want to come doing Hajj over and over and over and over again. So every single year, it's now what? Extremely crowded. And the more crowded, the more annoyance, the more harm, the more breaking the rules of Hajj, and the more tarakhus, seeking a fatwa. Do we have to wait until after 1 o'clock to stone? Can we do it before? I'm old, I'm sick, I'm weak, I'm so on. I'm with my grandmother, my wife, my daughter, my this and my that. That happens over and over again. That can't be the legislation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone understand this? And which, for you to make voluntary prayers, you have to keep doing all types of extra things that are against the sunnah. I will never stand up making voluntary prayers. I'm half asleep. I only recite the Fatiha. I only do the necessary obligatory act. I'm not going to raise my hands. What's the purpose of you making those extra prayers if you're just barely infringing upon what's mandatory? Everyone understand this? Something is wrong. Something's what? Something's wrong. Let alone the fact that, and this is just a general statement, all right? And we don't have to apologize for speaking the truth. We don't believe in that. You don't ever have to apologize for saying the haqq. But this is a general statement. The concept of more and more people being allowed to make Hajj every single year. And it's publicized. 8 million, this million, this million. It's a beautiful Hajj. All right, tayyib. So the masjid is being extended and expanded. Are the bathrooms different? Are the escalators being expanded? Is there an actual tangible train system? Not a train system, but something that's tangible, that's close by. The hygiene, the condition, the ability for buses to move in and move out. Are these things being expanded? Everyone understand this? You can't just say, I want to invite 100 brothers over my 1-bedroom apartment. And next year, 150. And the third year, 300. Alhamdulillah, more brothers, they come over and they eat my food. But I only have 1 bathroom. I only have 1 entrance. I only have 1 fire exit, if that. I only have 1 sofa. Something's wrong now. If I keep bringing these swarms of people, I have to do what? Has to be some logistical planning now. How they want to come in? It's 100 of them outside. They can't just squeeze in. How they want to get out? Everybody understand this is very important, guys. And there are many, many other things like this. It's not just about the numbers. And only Allah knows, one may say, this goes to show you that many of us, our intentions for Hajj may not necessarily be the best intentions. To be seen, to be heard, to be known, or to make money, and that's it. But the actual essence of the Hajj, to perform it and not rush and actually do the recommended acts, the subrogatory acts, the voluntary acts, and take your time and not being pushed and trampled upon. Everyone understand this? Oftentimes when you make Hajj, that's what? It's not there because there's too many people. Let alone the ruling of a woman making Hajj 2 and 3 or 4 or 5 times. And she has to keep what? Exposing herself to the what? The pushing of men. You understand this wisdom here? Tayyip. Moving forward. He says, and also the Rukn al-Yamani, touching it. The Yemeni corner. Number 4. قول بسم الله والله أكبر. اللهم إيمانا بك وتصديقا بكتابك ووفاء بعهدك واتباعا لسنة نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم عند بدء الشوط الأول. The fourth recommended act of tawaf is to say the following supplication. Bismillah, in the name of Allah. Wallahu Akbar, Allah is most great. Allahumma imana bika. Oh Allah, I'm doing this based off of my belief in you. The covenant that I owe to you. وَاتِّبَاعًا لِسُنَّةِ نَبِيِّكَ, and following the sunnah of your prophet. He says this should be said when a person begins the first circuit. This supplication should be said when a person begins the first shawt. Where is this dua found? Is this mentioned in the authentic narration? We won't have time to discuss that right now, and this is the author's view. Number 5. الدعاء أثناء الطواف وهو غير محدد ولا معين بل يدعو كل طائف بما يفتح الله عليه غير أنه يسن ختم كل شوط بقوله ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. He says when you make the tawaf, you should make dua. Make dua during the tawaf. And the dua that you allow or you're requested to make during the tawaf is open. You can say whatever you want to say. It's not restricted. There is no one supplication that you have to make or one supplication that you can't make. Everyone understand this? It's open. Do any dua that you want of the good of this life and the good of the hereafter. He says each and every pilgrim who's making a tawaf, they should make the dua that comes to them, that Allah gives them. Simple, basic, organic. There is no one book. There is no one paragraph. There is no one thing that you have to say or should say. Just make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after each, or after when one completes the a circuit, one time, one round, and he is allowed and recommended to recite the verse from Surah Al-Baqarah, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً, O our Lord, give us good in this life. وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً, and give us good in the next. وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ, and protect us from the torment of hell. And this ayah, as of FYI, faida, it shows us as that the worldly life is important, but not as important as the realm of spirituality. And the eternal life in the hereafter is always going to be more. And it shouldn't be 50-50. It shouldn't be 50-50. It should be 60-40, 70-30. You understand this? And that's because Allah Azza wa Jal, He said, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً, that the believers say, our Lord, give us in this life hasana. That's one dua. وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً, that's another dua. For the akhirah. وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ, and protect us from the fire of hell. So it's 2 against what? It's 2 against 1. 2 du'as for the hereafter and 1 du'a for the dunya. Everyone understand this? Tayyip, moving forward. Number 6. الدعاء بالملتزم عند الطواف من الفراغ. والملتزم هو المكان الذي بين باب البيت والحجر الأسود. The 6th recommended act of tawaf is to pray, is to supplicate, make dua at the place called Al-Multazam. When a person finishes all 7 circuits, the author says that he should go to the Multazam and make dua, ask Allah for things. And this place, as the Multazam, he says, Bab al-Bayt, is at the gate of the Kaaba, the door of the Kaaba, between the door and between the black stone. Between the door and between the black stone. Is there authentic proof to state this? Question 1. Question 2 is it possible to do this when there's so many people? Everyone understand this? طيب. Number 7. صلاة ركعتين بعد الفراغ من الطواف خلف مقام إبراهيم يقرأ فيهما بسورتي الكافرون والإخلاص بعد الفاتحة. The seventh recommended act of tawaf is to offer 2 units of voluntary prayer. 2 units of prayer when you finish tawaf. Behind the maqam, the standing place and the station of Abraham. You make these 2 rak'ah, and in the first you should recite, or in both of them you're going to recite the surahs of Tawheed. The surahs of Tawheed. Al-Kafirun and Al-Ikhlas. 2 are the strongest surahs in the Quran, 2 of the strongest surahs regarding the Tawheed of Allah. So the author says this is recommended and not mandatory, nor is it a pillar or a bone of the Hajj. He says sunnah. So if it's too crowded or this happens, you break your wudu, whatever the case may be, he says it's what? Recommended. Number 8, الشرب من ماء زمزم والتضلع منه بعد الفراغ من صلاة الركعتين. It's to drink Zamzam water. And a person should drink as much as he possibly can. After he's finished the 2 rak'ah behind the station of Ibrahim, he should drink as much Zamzam as he possibly can. And obviously you have to be mindful of this. If you've never done it before, you can drink a lot, but don't drink so much in which you can't control yourself afterwards and you have to use the bathroom. Or you may get cramps. There's going to be a lot of walking, a lot of standing, and also some places in which you're going to run when you make sa'i. So be what? Be mindful of that. Number 9. الرجوع لاستلام الحجر الأسود قبل الخروج إلى المسعى. The 9th and final recommended act of tawaf is that after you finish drinking, go back to the black stone. Touch it, kiss it, or whatever, before you go to perform the sa'i. And just think about that, how crowded it is now, Musaid. And not only is it crowded when you make the tawaf, be very mindful. Is that when you make tawaf, it's like driving. It's like coming out of an exit or a garage, going on the highway, coming off the shoulder. You can't just what? You got to put on your blinkers and wait for a long time. And that's how it is when you make the tawaf. Sometimes it's so crowded, you have to go around 8 or 9 times. You can't just go out and go to the right, to the mas'ah. Let alone make the tawaf, pray the 2 rak'ah, go drink the Zamzam, and then go back into the thicket of the tawaf, put your blinkers on and wait and nudge your way in. Avoid this woman walking, avoid this wheelchair flying, avoid these people locked up into a lynch mob, and go back and kiss the black stone, and then do what? Go all the way back out. You have to be realistic now. You have to be what? Realistic. And all of these problems and issues are nothing more than a fruit and a result of the swarms of people. Of the what? The swarms of people. Everyone understand this or not? So some people, they say, some Hajj leaders or brothers who have hotels or whatever, they say, Yahi, this is a good thing. The government is allowing millions and millions of Muslims to come every year. It was never like this, alhamdulillah. Play it. It's good, obviously, for you, because you're making a great deal of profit every year. There's no limit. It looks good. The aerial shots, television and newspaper, it looks great. But when you're what? It's a different story. Everyone understand this? And one may say that if they put limits on the people who can make Hajj, who can't make Hajj, so on and so forth, that may be more reasonable. One may say this, that that's closer to reason. It's just too many people. Everyone understand this? Right, moving forward. So these are the recommended acts of a tawaf according to the author, rahimahullah ta'ala. So the benefit of knowing that they're recommended is that you should do them. You should do them. But if you forget about one of them, alhamdulillah, you don't have to go back. If it's too crowded, you don't have to what? Do them. If you're half sick, you have food poisoning, or like I said, your foot got ran over by a wheelchair, yeah, toenails hanging off, you may just have to do the what? Have I turned this or not? That's the benefit of knowing what is and what isn't obligatory. Like wudu. If you have the time, it's not cold outside, you have a towel, you should make the recommended acts of wudu. 3 times, bismillah, miswak, kullu shit. But now you're on the side of the road with only what? A little bit of water left. That's a different story. Or it's very cold. You can make wudu, but it's just, a little brisk. You have the fiqh of knowing what you what? طيب. Moving forward. And that doesn't mean in any circumstance that a person who says, oh, it's just the sunnah. You know, no big deal, no biggie. It's just the what? No, we don't scorn the recommended act. Everything. No. That's wrong. طيب. الركن الثالث. The third pillar or the third main bone. The major part of the structure of Hajj is what? He says as-sa'i. As-sa'i. السعي هو المشي بين الصفا والمروة ذهابا وإيابا بنية التعبد وهو ركن في الحج والعمرة. He says a sa'i is to walk between Mount Safa and Mount Marwa, to go back and forth with the intention of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is once more a rukn. It's a major bone, a major pillar of Hajj and Umrah. If you forget your sa'i, if you didn't feel like doing your sa'i, you make a sacrifice, right? You slaughter an animal to fix it. No. Everyone understand this? طيب. شروط السعي. The conditions of a valid sa'i. Just like we did the conditions of a valid tawaf, right? شروط السعي هي أولا النية لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما الأعمال بالنيات. First and foremost is the intention. Based off of the famous hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. These are only but by their intentions. Number two, الترتيب بينه وبين الطواف بأن يقدم الطواف على السعي. The second condition is that it has to be done in order. You cannot make tawaf before sa'i, or sa'i before tawaf. You cannot make what? Sa'i before tawaf. So the author says it's really crowded, but for some reason the sa'i, the Messiah ain't that crowded. So let's just do this first, and then what? We work our way over there. The hotel or whatever, the bus or whatever we're going, meeting up is on the other side. It's easier. He says no. Tawaf has to be done then sa'i. Number three, الموالاة بين أشواطه غير أن الفصل اليسير لا يضر ولا سيما إذا كان لحاجة. Number three is that it has to be done back to back. It has to be done in a relatively responsive time. But if you have to sit down for a couple of seconds, you stop for a minute or something, he says there's nothing wrong with that. Especially if there's a need. Someone is out of breath, someone's bleeding, someone is starting to hyperventilate, someone needs some water on their head. I lost my sandal, oh snaps, my phone, subhanAllah. Go back. That's one thing. A hajjah, a what? A need, طيب. Number four, إكمال العدد 7 أشواط فلو نقص شوطا أو بعض الشوط لم يجزئ إذ حقيقته متوقفة على تمام أشواطه. The fourth condition of a valid sa'i is that it has to be done 7 times. So if a person only did 6 or 6.5 or 6 3/4, then the sa'i will be what? Invalid. 7 times, just like the tawaf. Number 5, وقوعه بعد طواف صحيح سواء كان الطواف واجبا أو مسنونا. The fifth is that the sa'i has to take place after a valid tawaf. It has to take place after what? A valid tawaf. Regardless whether the tawaf is obligatory or recommended. Let's say, for example, one says, okay, I know tawaf comes first, but it's only recommended tawaf, so I stopped. Or I didn't have one of the conditions. Whatever the case may be. Now I want to go and do sa'i. The sa'i is what? Invalid. Now the question is, if somebody's making Hajj, is the tawaf going to be recommended? Everyone understand this? طيب. Next section, he says, Sunan sa'i. The recommended acts for a sa'i. The recommended acts for what? For a sa'i. Things that you don't have to do, but you should do. Number 1, al-khabab. وسرعة المشي بين الميلين الأخضرين الموضوعين على حافة الوادي القديم الذي خبت فيه هاجر إسماعيل عليهم السلام وهو السنة للرجال القادرين دون الضعفة والنساء. The first one is called al-khabab. in which a person is running. They run and between the two green markers, the two green light fixtures. You'll see them. When you see it starts and you see where it ends. In that place you should what? You should run. And this is based off of what Hajar alayhi salam did. The mother of Ismail. Tayyib. And he says, and this is a recommended act for men who are capable, not men who are weak and incapable, nor women. Nor women. Women shouldn't run, the author says. Number 2, الوقوف على الصفا والمروة للدعاء فوقهما. So does that mean that you race? As many brothers do? They race. They compete there. You ever seen this? And they say, I beat you. I smoked you. I burnt you. Many brothers, they do this. They compete. Or even worse than that. They do Barry Sanders. Ankle breakers. Skirt. Literally, human joystick. Am I making this up? You ever seen this before? Have you ever done it before, Nafis? That's the question. Allah knows best. You seen this, Abu Sa'id? And the brothers, they're having fun. They're moving out the way. Spin move. Old lady, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Hopefully no Heisman stiff arms. It's a reality. Gotta be mindful of this. You have to be what? And this is another issue of the extreme what? Crowd. The extreme crowd. Don't harm yourself nor what? Harm others. Only a few brothers can maybe relate to this. Who've done it, who've seen it, let alone the Barry Sanders what? Yeah, that's maybe a little old for some of the younger brothers. Tayyib, khairan inshallah. So we gotta be mindful of that, Also slowing down. You can run fast, right? And you can get out the way, but what happens when it's time to slow down? Is that good? You running full speed like that. Khalid is laughing, he knows what I'm talking about. Ibn Munir has some issues, no doubt. There's no question about that, but I'm not a liar. Everybody clear on this, right, Khalid? I'm not what? Maybe in his view, but I'm what? Not a liar. This is a reality. So when you run like that and you're moving out the way and spinning, you're looking at your brother who's beating you, you're juking, then you got to slow down and stop on those towels with no shoes. Let alone, what if you do if someone's in front of you, such as a woman or an old man, and you bang, blast into him? You got to be mindful of that, Right, moving forward. Number 2, الوقوف على الصفا والمروة للدعاء فوقهما. It's to stand upon Safa and Marwa to make dua upon them. Stand there and make the supplications. What are the supplications? The author, he says, الدعاء على كل من الصفا والمروة في كل شوط من الأشواط السبعة. First is to stand. Second is to actually make the what? The dua. That's number 3. And number 4 is actually saying the dua. Why can't it just be one? He says, قول الله أكبر ثلاثا إن الرقي على كل من الصفا والمروة في كل شوط وكذا قول لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير لا إله إلا الله وحده صدق وعده ونصر عبده وهزم الأحزاب وحده. And a person, he makes that supplication. He says Allahu Akbar 3 times when he's climbing up or ascending Safa and Marwa. On each time, each circuit. And then you make that next dua. Is this only for men or for women? The author didn't specify. Now, another very important point is to understand that that's not mandatory. Not standing, not climbing, not saying. And if a person just went from Safa, Marwa, Marwa, Safa, back and forth, his sa'i will be what? Will be valid. But obviously a recommended thing, a virtuous time, a virtuous place, a virtuous act to pray to Allah and asking for the good of this life and the good of the what? Hereafter. Does that mean that you stand there for an hour each time or for 45 minutes each time and you crowd and you push and you bump into men and women and touch and this and that? You have to be mindful of that as well because it's very, very crowded. And oftentimes people, they congregate at the bottom instead of walking up, and there's plenty of space. Anyone ever seen that video when a guy went crazy with the chair? He was breaking open the glass barrier. Remember? You never seen? Remember? What was he looking for on the other side? He would have just touched the rocks. You know the glass? They have the glass fence. If you made Hajj and Umrah some years back, there was no glass barrier. You could go all the way up on the top near the ceiling. People wrote their names in a marker on the rock. Then some years later, they did what? They encased it, and it's just mostly just the tiles, but the actual rock is behind the glass. Everyone understand this? The actual rock is what? Behind the glass. So one day, some brother, I don't know if you know him, Nafis, he literally took a chair, one of those carry chairs that the old people have, and he just start, breaking through the glass. Literally. Am I making this up, Akhi?
Why? Maybe he thought it was
I don't know if it's on YouTube. This is an actual video, brother. Like, being there. YouTube is one thing. Fantasy. Being what? Tell you. Moving forward. These are the 5. The last but not least, number 5. Al-muwalatu bayna wa bayna tawaf. بحيث لا يفصل بينهما بدون عذر شرعي. One must do it just like the tawaf and the sa'i. The sa'i, the tawaf, then the sa'i. Now the sa'i coming right after the what? And each circuit. In which a person doesn't make a long delay unless there is a reason. Udhr shar'i, a legitimate reason, whatever that legitimate reason may be. Ar-rukn al-rabi', the 4th and final pillar or main component of Hajj, al-wuqufu bi-Arafah. A standing, quote unquote, which is not actually standing, because you could be sitting, or some ulama say a person could be flying over it, hovering over Arafah, a helicopter. Remember understand this? Or a jetpack, or a glider, or maybe someone's ifrit, hot air balloon. Only Allah knows, nowadays. طيب, he says, so standing at Arafah, al-wuqufu bi-Arafah, حقيقته الحضور بالمكان المسمى عرفات لحظة فأكثر بنية الوقوف من ظهر يوم أو يوم 9 ذي الحجة إلى فجر اليوم العاشر من. He says, wuquf bi-Arafah, it means to be present, to appear at the place called Arafat. Why is the place called Arafat? Some people say that's where Adam alayhi salam met. And there are other interpretations as well. Where he knew that he was wrong, where he knew Allah, al-Muhim. Different interpretations of what? Of Arafah. And we all know what they say in Saudi Arabia. Some of them say that the grave of Hawa is in Jeddah. Is where? In Jeddah. And it's a very interesting fact when you talk about the Arabian Sea and the Red Sea, Saudi Arabia and the Horn of Africa, in which they say that's where they found the what? First human being, Lucy, I believe they called it, in Abyssinia. It's a very what? Close region. Tight. Moving forward, let alone the fact that the concept of going from Saudi Arabia today, Arabia then, to that corner of Africa was known, even in the time of the Prophet when they made Hijrah twice. Everyone understand this? Tight. Moving forward. We don't want to say nothing else. We live in a time in which if you state a fact, then you become a nationalist, a black nationalist, just for mentioning the what? The fact. That's unfortunate. Tight. Moving forward. He says, Al-huduru bil-makan al-musamma Arafat. He says, one moment, at least one moment. If you went there for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, you have fulfilled that pillar. فأكثر. If you stayed there the whole day, طيب. Meaning if you caught the day right before sunset, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, then that counts. That what? That counts. So he says here, you make the intention of dhuhr of the 9th day to fajr of the 10th day. How is that? Explain that. How does that make sense? From dhuhr of day 9 to fajr of day 10. That's what it says. Huh? Where do you go at nighttime on the day of Arafah? Where do you go after Arafah? Where do you go? Muzdalifah. Not Mina, nor do you sleep in the tents. You go to, there's no tents in Muzdalifah either. Tayyip. Last, no tents out there. See why the guy broke the glass with the chair now? It might have been now. Tayyip, al-muhim, Allah musta'an. So when the sun sets on the day of Arafah, it's nighttime now, where do you go? And you spend the night there. And you pray Fajr where? Then you return to Mina. Correct or incorrect? طيب, moving forward. ومن فاته الوقوف بعرفة فاته الحج وتحلل بعمرة ويقضيه فيما بعد. He says, and anyone who misses Arafah, listen carefully to this rule. You got there too late. The Hajj is done for you this year. It's gone. But you just don't walk away. He says, now you go into and perform Umrah. You now turn into the state of what? Of Ihram for Umrah. He says, and you have to make up the Hajj later on. You have to make it what? You have to make it up. You can't start the Hajj and stop the Hajj. He says, and he also has to make a hadi, sacrifice. He has to pay for an animal. He has to do what? For an animal to be slaughtered. إِلَّمْ يَكُنْ اشْتَرَطًا. Unless he made a condition in which when he went into Ihram, he says, oh Allah, if something keeps me back from finishing my rituals, فَمَحِلِّي حَيْثُ حَبِسْتَنِي. Huh? حَيْثُ حَبِسْتَنِي. Huh? When you make Ihram, you say, oh Allah, فَإِنْ حَبَسَنِي حَابِسٌ. If anything or something keeps me back, then my mahil, I leave Ihram wherever I'm held up. Everyone understand this? And ulama differ over this. Is it permissible to make this shart, this condition, and this stipulation in Ihram? Obviously, the author holds the view that it's what? Permissible. Everybody clear this or not? So, to make sure that we got this understood well, huh? You lend me some money, Abdul Wadud. And you say, please pay me back in a week, right? Right or wrong? And I say, I'll pay back in a week unless a natural disaster comes. No problem? Cool. So, after a week, it was a hurricane or tsunami. And all my money is what? You agree to that stipulation, say what? No problem. You don't owe me anything. That's not the same as I'm going to pay back in a week and something happened. I say, I'll give it back to you next year. Right now, just give me half and then give me the rest, what? Everyone understand this or not? Everybody clear on this or not? Tayyip. When you make Ihram, you make the intention. You go to the inviolable state for Hajj and Umrah, right? It's upon you to finish your Hajj. Finish your Hajj. وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. Huh? You have to finish it. It's not something you can just stop and start. Clear on this or not? Mandatory Hajj or not? You got to what? You got to finish it. Now, a big possibility, something that's very plausible, is for you to travel to the Bayt, go to make Hajj, and something happens. Let's say you get robbed. Someone robs you. Or your wife gets extremely sick. Or there's war. Something prevents you from finishing. So some of them might say that when you get into the state of Ihram, you make that stipulation. Oh Allah, I make my intention for Hajj to do this unless something stops me. And if something stops me, then I come out of Ihram wherever you stop me, oh Allah. You clear on this? Let's go back to the money, the debt thing now. Once more. Abdul Wadud, you lend me how much money? A rack, which is translated as $1,000, $1,000 US, right? A stack, a rack, whatever you want to call it. A band, whatever you want to call it, right? $1,000, right? A G stack, Tayyip, $1,000, right? So I have how long to pay back this money? Let's say a week. Let's say a week. We're getting money. Tayyip, $1,000. Just give you a real check. I ain't saying them out of legal money. You said we get money. We have a lucrative business. So you got to pay back what? In a week. Or let's say a month, no problem. So I said to you, I agree to pay back this rack in a month, unless something really bad goes wrong with my farm, such as a natural disaster. If a natural disaster happens, then I agree not to pay you back what? Nothing. Cool or not? It's not going to work with the example. It's cool. So a month goes by, or 2 weeks go by and I have a fire on my farm. All my crops are destroyed. I owe you now what? Nothing. But if I didn't make that stipulation, I would have to do what? Well, how much do you have? I have 300. Okay. Next year, next month, you give me the remaining 7. So when you make ihram, if you make a stipulation that if something keeps you and hinders you from reaching the bait, you say, فَمَحِلِّي حَيْثُ حَبَسْتَنِي. I am now out of ihram, wherever you keep me, O Allah. And you do not have to complete a Umrah or Hajj or nothing. You understand? Tell you. Moving forward. He says, وَمَنْ صَدُّ عَدُوٌ عَنِ الْبَيْتِ أَهْدَى ثُمَّ حَلٍّ. And anyone who is kept from reaching the Kaaba because of an enemy, say non-Muslims, he wishes to fight the Muslims, then he has to make a sacrifice, and then he's out of ihram. Done. Everyone understand this? In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, things are not like how they were today. Right, moving forward. when حصره مرض أو ذهاب نفقة فإن كان قد اشترط ومحلي حيث حبستني تحلل ولا شيء عليه ولم يشترط حل عليه ما تيسر من الهدي. Once more, the author says, if he's held back, the first issue was with regards to missing Arafah, right? And making a stipulation. This issue now, and if he's held back from reaching the actual destination, he lost his money, like we said. All of his wealth is gone. Or he missed the plane or the bus. He's lost and stuck. Everybody clear on this? He says here, if he made the stipulation, then it's what? La shay'a alayhi. Time to go back to New York City. Class, done, over. And if he did make the stipulation, he says what? Ma tayassara min al-hadi. Fama staysara min al-hadi. Then you have to give the animal that you have the ability to give. All right, clear on this or not? Tayyip, moving forward. Wajibatul Hajj. The obligatory things of Hajj. Not the arkan, the pillars, but obligatory things. In other words, things that you have to do. You're not allowed to leave them off. But if you left them off, you can repair. You can fix it. Like salat. Pillar of prayer, there's no fixing. You didn't do it. You have to make that salat. Everybody understand this? Wajibat, you forgot, so on and so forth. You fix it with this sujood as-sahw. Tayyib? So the things that you must do during Hajj, but they aren't necessarily a part of the actual what? Hajj, the skeleton of Hajj. Everybody clear on this or not? Number 1 is al-ihram. Number 2? Number 3? Number 4? Staying at Arafah. That is the actual structure of the Hajj. Things that must be done. You cannot leave them alone. You cannot abandon them. And if you left them alone and forgot them or abandoned them, your Hajj is what? Invalid. And there also may be times in which a consequence. You have to pay the animal, do it again. The wajibat of the Hajj are not the actual structure. Things that you have to do. Or you have to do them, but things that you can fix. And mend your error later on. Number 1, al-ihramu min al-miqat. Is that you must make ihram at the checkpoint. So if you're leaving America and you're going to make tamattu', your ihram is going to be done at Dhul Hulayfa. No further than what? Dhul Hulayfa, which is well known. The bus, the brothers, everyone is going to tell you this is where you make your intention. You have to do your ihram what? There. You can't drive for 15 minutes on a bus and then say, Allahumma labbaika, so on and so forth. La. You've passed the what? The miqat. You have to do your ihram at the, before you pass and transgress the miqat. Number 2. Al-wuquf bi'arafata ila al-ghurub liman waqafa naharan. Number 2, he says, to stay in at Arafah until sunset. For those who come during the day. Is that you have to be there until sunset. For those who come during the day. Number 3. المبيت ليلة النحر بمزدلفة إلى بعد منتصف الليل, is you have to spend the night at Muzdalifah. You must spend the night at Muzdalifah. And you have to stay there at least until after half the night has passed. Number 4, al-mabitu bi Mina fi layali tashriq. One must spend the night at Mina for the nights of tashriq, which are the 11th, 12th, and 13th. And if not, at least 2 out of 3. At least 2 nights out of 3 nights. Number 5, ramyul jimari murattaban. Stoning the jamarat in order. Stoning them when? In order. The day of a nahar, 10th day, you stone what? Aqaba. The days of tashriq, you start with a what? Small, medium, large. He says here, number 6, al-halqu or al-taqsir. You have to either shave your head or trim your head. One of the two. Shaving obviously is better. If you don't want to shave it because you fear you're going to get razor bumps or they're going to cut you and nick you or you love your hair so much, that's not a shot at any brothers. Wallahi, Allah knows that wasn't a shot, Talib. However, if the rule fits, then what? If it fits, if the clock's wallaby fits, then what? You gotta wear it, Tayyib. So, if a person doesn't, he took a shot, Talib. I heard him, he said head and shoulders. He called you Abu Head and Shoulders, mashallah. Tayyib. Be mindful, akhi. Tayyib. So a person doesn't want to shave his head. You don't have to. You can trim it. But one of the what? One of the two. So what is meant by trimming the hair for a man? Just taking a snippet off the piece of your hair? Or evenly? Evenly. So if a brother has long hair, what does he have to do? Can he just cut it like a woman? A fingertip? Half a fingertip? Or does he have to actually get a haircut, like a buzz cut? A buzz cut. You gotta get a Caesar, Not a Pharaoh cut. Allah musta'an. Tayyib. And what about a woman? How does a woman cut her hair? Scissors. There are many, many different issues that pertain to this now. If the sister has braids, does she have to cut a piece of each braid? Or a ponytail? Or long? Afro. All different ins and outs of this now. Tayyib. Moving forward. Wajibatul Umrah. What time is it then, Khalid? 5 minutes? Tayyib. Khairan, inshallah. The next section he says, Wajibatul Umrah. The mandatory things of Umrah. So we're done with the arkan of Hajj, the shurut of Hajj, the wajibat of Hajj. Tayyib. Now, before we can stop here with the book. As far as recommended acts of Hajj that don't necessarily pertain to the actual Hajj itself, then obviously is making al-istikhara. And istikhara, as the people of knowledge say, it doesn't mean you should make istikhara to ask Allah as the Hajj a thing that you should or shouldn't do. Because Hajj is khair. And there is no stuttering or lack of certainty or lack of surety when it comes to doing what? Khair. Don't ever forget the qaida now. And it's a very important way of protecting you from misunderstanding istikhara. Istikhara is not for something which is absolutely good. But when should I make Hajj? Who should I go with? Should I go with this brother or not? Should I take my son or not? Everybody clear on this? You make istikhara about those things. About what? Those things. Everybody understand this? Also, make sure that you go with a good group. A group that is experienced. A group that's trustworthy. Don't go with 40 thieves. Arabian Nights. Somebody's going to rip you off, hijack you, charge you up, promise you things and don't deliver. We have 5-star hotels, 6-star hotels, the best of the best, full breakfast buffet. And then there's 4 brothers or 6 brothers sleeping in one room, on cots. And he bring a thing of zabadi, some yogurt and tamis, some baked bread, and say this is breakfast. And he said, be patient, Yahi, what's the matter? It's a Hajj. Exactly. Then you start hearing all the Arabic in the Quran now. Naam, the face of Allah. So, but was it about the face of Allah when it came to what? Have you deposited your check, akhi? Have you made your final payment? There's tax, there's this, there's that, so on and so forth. There's a great deal of hypocrisy that many of us have. When it comes to offering our necessary services, it says qadr Allah, right? Sabr, patience, the believer, you're on Hajj. Brother, subhanAllah, you hear that quick, what? Now I'm your brother. That's unfortunate. But when it comes to pain or giving you what you demand and require, there is no what? Brother. There's no qadr of Allah and sabr, qadr Allah, my money is short, la, brother, I'm sorry, I cannot process your visa, and that's what? This is reality. And Allah talks about this in the Quran. وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ. Those الَّذِينَ إِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ يَسْتَوْفُونَ وَإِذَا كَالُوهُمْ أَوْ وَزَنُوهُمْ يُخْسِرُونَ. Allah says, when they want from men, they want full measure. Every drop, every ounce, every milliliter. Huh? But when it's time for them to give in volume or weight, they do what? They cheat. This is a sad reality that many of us have. And it applies to business. It applies to marriages. A husband, he wants his wife to be like the Sahabiyat. He wants them to be like the mothers of the believers. Do this, do that, kada, cook, clean, serve me, read this, do this. Kullu shay. But he doesn't want to behave in a household like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He doesn't want to provide. He doesn't want to be kind. He doesn't want to give it anything, but he demands what? Everything. When it comes to knowledge, ilm, I demand everything from you as a student. Kullu shay. Get on your knees. Bow down to me. Respect me. Do this, do that. Bring me breakfast. Bring me dinner. So on and so on and so forth. But he said, I have a question. I can't get me in class. So can you help me out? I said, I can't help you. I'm busy. I'm sorry. Be patient. You're a student. It doesn't work like that. Brotherhood. You can't just call brother only when you want him. But when he needs you, you're nowhere what? To be found. And then this goes on and on and on. This is a dangerous issue when it comes to professionalism in al-Islam. And oftentimes you find the ugliness of a person when you make Hajj with them. Huh? You find the what? True ugliness of an individual when you make Hajj with them. And you see how a person loses his temper and growls and swears and curses and spits on people when it comes to what? Money. That's unfortunate. So therefore, try to go with a group that has a good reputation. That's experienced. They're not crooks. They're known for providing a good service. And of course, good service is never cheap or free. Don't ever forget that in life. My grandmother used to tell me, she wasn't a Muslim. She says, you get what you pay for. You get what? What you pay for. Good service isn't cheap or free. Huh? And cheap or free service isn't good. People say, oh, why are you charging? Nah, Abu Saeed, right? No. What do you want to get for free in this world? So we have to be mindful of this. Also, make sure, that you try your best to have the basics of Hajj down packed. Whether it's through a book, whether it's through classes or whatever, have the basics down packed. And everything that you read that doesn't make sense or isn't clear or isn't consistent, write it down. Put it in a little journal. And you call them up, or in the camp, or in the tent, or on the bus, have your list of questions, and you knock them out. Also, a very important recommended act of Hajj is to make sure you free yourself from your debts before you leave. If they're immediate debts, you take care of them, or at least seek permission from the people whom you owe. Now, we've mentioned this before. In the modern world, not too often is a person ever free from debt in the modern world today. And that's another scary topic in itself. It's not like how it was in the past. There was no electric bill. There was no gas bill. The gas and electric, the heat was the sun. Everybody understand this? What you build. Nowadays, as you sleep, when you wake up, 24/7, you're in a state of what? Debt. Did we realize this? I don't think we do, right, Abu Sharif? You have your phone service on. You're in a state of what? The electricity is a state of what? Gas, this and that. It's always debt. So what's meant by a debt is someone whom you owe, and they demand that you give them their rightful haqq, and the Hajj is either covering it or at least taking a good portion of it. You owe me 15 racks. Now, they don't cost so much to make Hajj, but you're paying 8, 10. That can what? Give me 5, something. Or I say, no problem, you can make Hajj. As long as you pay it back on time, not best. I won't have to make any what? Phone calls. No one will come by your house, inshallah. Or your mother stays, or your children's daycare, if you give me mine on time. Unfortunately. Everyone understand this? So you have to speak to those people. And also you should have a will written down. You should have a wasiyah. In case I die, in case I don't make it back, this goes to this one, this goes to that one. This is very important. And also, as the ulama says, to make a sincere tawbah before you travel. Make repentance. Not at Arafah, at Muzdalifah, before you leave. Repent to Allah and ask Allah to clean you. And that will begin, inshallah, your spiritual journey. Also, take advantage of the time for Hajj with seeking ilm. Have a book with you. Have PDFs on your device. Have lectures in the Quran already loaded. So with everything that you do, walking, eating, sitting, traveling, you're in a state of benefit. And don't make the Hajj time a time which you just laugh and joke all of the time. It's not haram to make a joke as long as it's true. And as long as it isn't excessive. And as long as it isn't offensive to your brother. From time to time, la bas. But you don't have to go make Hajj with a grimace face. But realize that it's not just a time for laughing and joking. Or staring at women. And making jokes about getting married. You see how pretty she is? Oh, I wonder, can I get married to her after we finish our tawaf? And this is a reality. Many brothers, they do this. Allah what sisters do. I've never made Hajj in a vicinity of sisters. Everyone understand this or not? To realize that the Hajj is a golden opportunity and you may not make it again. There's no guarantee. How many brothers are not with us now as we speak? So there's no guarantee that you'll go back. So take advantage of the Hajj. These are a few pieces of advice, a few words of wisdom with regards to the general recommendations of what? Of Hajj. And also make sure that you study well with regards to the things that you need. Do not overpack and do not underpack. Make sure you have the necessary footwear that's Hajj compliant. It's not a shoe, it's not this, it's make sure it's sturdy. Make sure it's waterproof. Make sure it's slip resistant. Make sure you have the necessary means with regards to your toiletries and the sanitary things. A portable bathroom thingy. This type of wipe, this type of bottle, because you never know. And when the line is an hour long and you have to use the bathroom, your stomach is upset, you don't know. A child or old person, you never know. Make sure you bring the necessary food with you that'll not dry you out and dehydrate you. In most cases, it's going to be hot. Oftentimes it's cool or cold, but it's hotter than oftentimes America is. Or you're walking for hours. I would understand this. Scenting this deodorant, scenting this, scenting this that. All the things that you need to get your body in a basic state of functionability. Everyone understand this? So when it comes to packing different types of foods, canned foods, things that are quick, light, easy, and nutritious for the body. Compass, all the different things that you need for what? For a successful Hajj. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money that you spend if you do it in a wise way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should knows best. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.